Hey, it's your guy Tyrrell back with the interviews. Colorado Rapids, Toronto FC, second leg of the CONCACAF Champions League. Who would go on to the next round? Would Colorado be able to mount a comeback? Would TFC build on what they did in the first leg, be very efficient in the final third, or would they dominate Colorado, prove that they're here to stay, prove why they're MLS champions, and start the season at BMO Field on the right note? Don't worry, here at the interviews, we've got you covered. So on this edition of the interviews, we're going to briefly break down the Colorado Rapids against Toronto FC. TFC Colorado Rapids, second leg of the CONCACAF Champions League. Who would go on to the next round? Well, TFC, the job was simple. Win, avoid defeat, don't concede more than 2 away goals unless you score as well. How did they do it? How did they get the job done? Well, as the Colorado Rapids manager said, they did play better for the first hour of this game. How did they do that? How did they fluster TFC? When we look at the board, we got TFC in the red, we got Colorado in the blue. Nothing really changed in terms of shape from a tactical perspective. 4-4-2 diamond against 3-5-2. TFC with Giovinco and Altidore ahead of Vasquez, Delgado and Osorio ahead of Bradley. The back four didn't change. Bono and net. For Colorado, Badji and McBean up front. In midfield, it was Blomberg, it was Price, it was Martinez. As wingbacks, they had Hairston and Wynn. What did Colorado do differently here? Well, opposed to sitting back and looking to play on the counterattack, they showed some bite. They pressed in, they were proactive without the ball. That was very key to start with, and TFC never really were able to get it going. Plus, they clogged the central area really well, and we've seen earlier this season where Giovinco and Altidore just struggle to really get the dynamic proper. They don't know. Sometimes both of them stay too high right over here, and that's a big issue, whereas one could drop deep or one can move over to the flank to possibly pull a marker away and help the other striker get more space or possibly create space in the midfield for their attackers. That kind of happened here, and the fact that Vasquez was kind of tucked in there were just too many bodies in the midfield, and the fact that Colorado were pressing and very disciplined with their positioning really stifled TFC and what they were trying to do. When you look at how Colorado pressed, that was very key. They ensured that Michael Bradley never got on the ball. How did they do that? Well, they did that in different phases. There were times where they would have Badji push forward and McBean just harry Bradley. That was one aspect of it. There's another aspect where they would let the center back split, and then they would have the forwards, Badji and McBean, just sit ahead of Bradley to ensure that nothing was played into him, or have it more like this, where nothing was played into him. Bradley tried to break into those positions. There were times where, yes, McBean would push forward, they'd have Badji push to one center back. They've had Blomberg push to the next one, and then have the wing backs push over on the fullbacks. That was very key, and that stopped, obviously, Bradley from getting onto the ball, and that was one key aspect there. But for the most part, when you look at it from that perspective, TFC never really got going. They didn't create a bulk of chances in the manner that they would hope to at home, especially the fact that they had so many creative players on the pitch. Delgado would push forward, he would be pressed. Osorio wasn't really pressed with Martinez there, and that was probably one of their openings, but Osorio doesn't really offer much going forward. He could retain possession, he could move the ball well, but it takes sometimes they overpass the ball when Osorio gets onto it, and that kind of delays the attack and allows defenders to really shift in and get back into their position. And then you had Vasquez, who was struggling to really get forward. Vasquez did do a good job on Price when he didn't have the ball, but Vasquez was really frustrated with his movement. And because Bradley couldn't get on the ball, we saw Vasquez kind of drop deeper, and that was a key element to what they did well. When you look at TFC's best chances, apart from the Osorio chance where it was a well-worked move that allowed Osorio to get the ball between the lines, TFC's best chances from the first half stem from Vasquez playing just hopeful, bouncing loose balls over the top, and Giovinco broke free. The first one was a Ford error, and it fell to Giovinco. He fired the shot over the net. The second one was, again, another center back error where they conceded the ball just on the edge of the box, and it was Vasquez clipping it over and Giovinco firing it to the side netting. So TFC didn't really create any chances from that aspect, and it stemmed from Vasquez dropping deeper, and no one really wanted to pick up Vasquez in those deeper positions because he was practically dropping within touching distance of Michael Bradley, and they already had 2 players on Bradley, so they weren't really worried about Vasquez in those areas. That was a big problem because he does have the passing range to be devastating from deeper zones as well. Then when you look at what Colorado did well is the fact that Badji and McBean were good in the first leg. It's just that they didn't have enough players around them to really complement that play. In the second leg, they pushed forward, they pressed, so that was a big difference. They had players around them, and the TFC center backs never really had an idea of how to cope with them. Badji was pushing off defenders. McBean was rolling past Bradley. You look at the best chance that they had. There was one chance where Badji knotted the ball, won an aerial duel, knotted it to win. However, a lot of crosses from the wide areas weren't that great, never met the marker. A lot of them flew into Bono, so that was a big issue. You look at the chance where Badji just bullied more off the ball. He tried to get a shot off. That didn't work. Then Martinez fired a shot into Hagelin. Badji fired a tame effort at Bono. Badji shrugged off his defenders. He hit the post. He forced Bono into saves. They didn't really know how to deal with him and McBean in the first half or the second half. They had some of the better chances apart from the chances that Giovinco squandered. And after that, what really changed was that they tired as the game wore on. They didn't have the ability to really cope with them and press them throughout the game, and TFC just kind of played through it, rode their luck. They were fortunate that Badji fired some tame efforts on goal, and that didn't really help them from that perspective. That didn't really help Colorado from that perspective. And then when Delgado came on and Akeshte came on, the new TFC signing, he offered something that was a bit different, more dynamism, more penetration. He looks like he wants to get to goal, and he looks like he'll be another technician that should fall into the TFC starting lineup throughout the season, because he looks like he has an eye for goal, and TFC kind of lacked that if Bradley shut out of the game or Altidore and Giovinco isn't really working. But the other aspect was that TFC didn't get their wing backs forward, and it perhaps was caution. They didn't want to get hit on the counter attack. They knew they were 2-0 up, but without the wing backs pushing forward, TFC really lacked width, and everything was going through the center of the pitch, and that was one of the reasons why TFC struggled in the center of the pitch was so clogged. If you have the wing backs pushing forward, you kind of stretch the play, stretch the game out, and that was very key. We only saw Morrow get forward once and a chance where they should have scored, and again it was Giovinco dropping deep. Recognizing that Morrow was running behind Hairston, slid the ball into him, one-on-one with the keeper, fires a shot inches wide of the far post. Besides that, TFC grew into the game as it was getting down to the dying minutes. As Colorado pushed men forward, Giovinco located space in the channel, so did Altidore, but they never lacked the final finish that they needed to get in the box to score a goal to win the game, and that was one of the big differences. Colorado, Badji, and McBean showed that they can be a very effective partnership in MLS this season. The midfield pressed very well, and this could be a template for other teams to use against TFC. For TFC, not the best performance, pretty conservative, rode through the game, didn't play to the best of their ability, and you're going to need them to play much better in the next round against Tigres, because if they don't, they could exit this competition early, because that wasn't good enough. But like we said, they had the 2 away goals. It was a bit conservative, and perhaps the 4-4-2 diamond may not be the way forward. It is an additional system that they can use, but they may have to go back to the 3-5-2 if you want to get the best out of all their players. But let me know what you guys think. Meet me in the comments below. Don't forget I upload videos every day, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And that was your daily dose of the interviews.